Gaming history is filled with simulator games, whether it's Flight Simulator, House Flipping Simulator, PC Building Simulator, The Sims. A good section of the gaming world really is obsessed with just simulating things. So for 2025, we're looking at 20 of the newest simulator games releasing this year. Starting off at number 20, Inzoi. This is a good one to kick it off with because it is the big thing right now. It seems like it's blowing up on Steam, and essentially what this is an early access title going for The Sims' lunch. The Sims really kind of cornered the market for life simulator games. Others have tried to some success, but Inzoi is kind of going balls to the wall with it, with a weird suite of creation tools, interesting charm, personality, fully explorable cities, more interactions, and, you know, sometimes some really good looking graphics. The only thing with this one though is that it is still very early access. Personally, we encountered a lot of bugs and glitches, but this game definitely does have potential. Not only just with its expanded gameplay and customization options, but just potential in the fact that people are over The Sims. They're looking for something new. They want to try something different, and that shows because a lot of people jumped into this early access. Even though it still needs a lot of work, we are definitely keeping our eye on Inzoi. Next, over at number 19, Forza Horizon 5. We're cheating because this is out on Xbox and PC, of course, but now in 2025, it's releasing for PS5, so it's a good excuse to talk about it again. Forza Horizon 5 isn't hardcore simulation, no. What it does simulate is just fun driving in a big, explorable world. The level of detail on the cars is highly realistic. These things look absolutely incredible. This is what the game truly simulates. Owning and sitting around and looking at a gorgeous high-end vehicle. It really is something else. But Forza Horizon 5 is also filled with fun stuff. Like I said, exploration, incredibly well-crafted races around these giant worlds, creative spins on, you know, street races, circuit races, off-road races. Forza Horizon 5 kind of has everything. It's also a good game to point out on this list. It's a simulator list, yes, but sometimes the definition of simulator can be stretched. Simulator doesn't just have to mean boring game, and Forza Horizon 5 is a good example of that. Now, next over at number 18, we have Schedule 1. This game has gone viral for good reason. It is a really, really quirky drug dealer simulator type game, kind of a crime simulator if you want to boil it down. This game just has a lot of charm. It was made by like one dude, and while it is definitely still a work in progress, there's a lot of fun aspects to it. You start out as just a guy like dealing some drugs on the side, you know, the growing, the selling, the distribution and all that, and you can kind of start to grow out your criminal empire, explore a world, interact with citizens and police. It's really creative and really cool. And this one's got a cartoony art style, so it's not simulating real life, yes, but it is simulating, you know, some of that drug dealing stuff. Not that I know anything about that at all, just saying. But it seems like the game does a good job of, you know, trying to simulate that type of thing, that style of life, that choice of profession. Next at number 17, we have Deliver at All Costs, which on the surface is a delivery driver simulator, but it's chaotic. There is a huge dash of creativity and fun here. I mean, just look at the gameplay on screen. This game is all about delivering, literally at all costs, and what comes with that is an insane amount of destructibility. Smashing through walls, fences, chases, whatever you have to do to get something from one location to another. There's a lot of really fun sandboxy elements here, threats, other vehicles, civilians, and the challenge of the cargo you're delivering. All different types of objects with their own physics can really make things difficult. Along with that, you're outfitting your truck to suit certain deliveries while also dealing with police and the fact that you could potentially drive off of a cliff and just explode. This is a single player game and has some good adventure to it. It's not a real like UPS or FedEx driver delivery simulator or anything like that, but with its fun, quirky physics and good pickup truck action, it just really looks to be a cool, quirky game. At the time of this video, it hasn't fully released, but it does have a demo, and you should consider checking it out if you're looking for something a little different. Next at number 16, we have a game about digging a hole. Now, if you really want a good old-fashioned, actual hardcore simulation game, look no further. This is a game about digging a hole. I'm serious. It's built around the physics of sticking a shovel into the ground, scooping out dirt, and seeing how far down you can dig and what you can discover. It very quickly gets strange. You go deeper and deeper down, kind of like if you just endlessly dig in like a Minecraft style game, but you're also planting explosives, you're using lights to light your way. Like, it's a good kind of digging, mining simulator. And it's got a little bit more to it than you would expect. Because at first, yes, you look at the gameplay, haha, there's a lawn and you dig a little hole. But it's got a really good loop of like collecting resources, going back up to your place, selling them. There's like an economy and stuff. It's just a good simulation game, but with like a little bit of a weird, quirky minimalism to it and some cool secrets to discover. Next at number 15, we have Falling Frontier. At the time of making this video, it's not released, but from what we have seen, this looks very much to be a kind of sci-fi 4X strategy game. Essentially a game where you have a big frigate or, Star Destroyer or whatever you want to call a big, massive ship, and it simulates you being the commander of one of these massive capital ships. With the developers heavily leaning into logistics, like the design of the ship, the trajectory, the fuel, the supply lines, all that hardcore nerdy stuff might really scratch the itch for some people. It's less about just waging massive wars and blasting stuff. There is action, yes, but it's about all that stuff in between as well. Ship design, recon, and logistics. As of right now, Falling Frontier doesn't have a release date, but we're hoping we hear more about it in 2025 as it's slated coming soon. Next over at number 14, we have Roadcraft. This is an interesting one. At the time of making this video, it's releasing pretty soon. This is from the people behind the Mud Runner games, the Snow Runner games, where, it simulates you driving a truck through harsh terrain. Here, they're kind of flipping the concept on their head, with you essentially going into areas ravaged by natural disaster, and it's up to you to essentially clean the place up, destroy debris, and rebuild roads, bridges, stuff like that. A really, really creative idea that could be incredibly satisfying if they pull it off, because the previous games from this studio have really nailed simulating those big trucks, what it really feels like to drive these trucks. Now they're working on all different types of big rigs and construction style vehicles, heavy machinery, stuff essentially that just has the potential to be a lot of fun to drive. They've done it before, like I said, Snow Runner, Mud Runner, those are incredible games, and I hope they nail it here. Next at number 13, we have Rematch. This is an interesting one because it's a football, or soccer if you're American, type simulator. While yes, it looks very fantastical, the environments, the on-screen visuals give off that like Rocket League futuristic flair. At the end of the day, what it is here is you playing as a football player, and the game is trying to simulate that with realistic movement and kicking. And I say that because it's the developers Slow Clap, the people behind Sifu. And Sifu did a really good job of simulating the feel of being a kung fu action badass guy. Blocking, parrying, dodging, all that stuff was kind of locked around brutal realism, tight, realistic animations and physics, and Rematch seems to be taking that concept and applying it to the world of football. And I think that's honestly a brilliant idea. They're doing some play tests and stuff like that. It's going to be an early access thing. We're excited to see what they're cooking with this one. It's releasing as of right now, June 19th, 2025. Next at number 12, we have Storer Parkour Pro. This just recently released, and essentially what the developers are going for here is a parkour simulation type game, giving you a sandbox and the freedom to create your own parkour lines and run and jump and climb around. And this game has a ton of potential. It just recently released in early access, and it definitely needs some work. It is not perfect, but with the animations, the way the jumping and the movement mechanics flow, and the way they've designed these areas to just really encourage parkour and free running, this game could really become something incredible. So if you're looking for something that really simulates that parkour style where that's all it's focused on, this might be your jam. Just be sure to look into the early access reviews before jumping into it. Next at number 11, we have Hollywood Animal. Here's something that kind of simulates you being a movie studio tycoon. This allows you to build out your own Hollywood movie studio in this big dynamic Hollywood, and you essentially get to choose how you want to build that studio out. A big blockbuster studio that crushes everything in your way, maybe more of an indie studio making indie films, but there's a lot to it. You know, there's the setting the budgets, the making the movies, the managing the people, but also dealing with corruption and some criminal activities too. Sometimes you gotta get the movie made no matter what. As of right now, this just released in early access, and because it is in early access, some of the feedback is, a bit mixed, but there is something to this idea. This is a really cool type of thing. A lot of people played games like the movies and had that experience of kind of the feeling of making your own movie, while also people who love things like, Zoo Tycoon or Roller Coaster Tycoon like the idea of building out a big empire, a big business. Hollywood Animal, once it finishes its early access period, has the potential to really become the next cool thing like those. Next at number 10, we have The Precinct. This game just looks like a really cool police simulator, or a police work simulator. They've been working on this one for a long time, and we've mentioned it in a couple of top 10s, and it seems to really cover the gamut. You're in this fictional 1980s city, and it's definitely got this 1980s vibe, but essentially you can go from beat cop, doing beat cop things, patrolling the streets, pulling over citizens, fines, tickets, stuff like that, and working your way up to being a detective and doing detective work, investigating leads, getting into shootouts, car chases, the whole 9 yards. It seems like you have a lot of freedom of choice in how you arrest people, how you process them, the types of weapons you use, the types of contacts you keep. They're going for a full sandbox here, so there's potentially a lot of freedom. And that, combined with the kind of 80s mix of noir style, could just be pretty sweet. As of right now, The Precinct is releasing May 13th, 2025. Next at number 9, we have Rise of Industry 2. This is essentially looking to build on Rise of Industry, which was received very well. A game essentially built around building out industry. Think of something like SimCity, but heavily focused around, the strategic manufacturing, farms, factories, developing technologies, developing how to transport, like just all of that stuff. Importing, exporting, optimizing how you make things, how you sell things, and essentially just big old capitalism simulator. This time around, it's got a really cool art style, a really interesting flair to it, and it's leaning on the kind of 1980s USA style, kind of leaning into how capitalism, how geopolitics worked at that time, and it could be a really creative spin. Really excited to see how this one shakes out. As of right now, no official release date other than a window of second quarter 2025. Next at number 8, we have Hunting Simulator 3. This is from Nacon, and it is the next big sandbox hunting simulator. Now, as somebody who has no experience hunting in the real world, but has experience digitally hunting, this has always been a cool idea, a way for people to experience going out in nature, experiencing all that the land has to offer, and tracking your targets, and successfully hunting them, and then all the stuff that comes with it. But with these games, they really emphasize simulating the actual nature of it all, the ecosystems, the behaviors of these animals, and that's what makes them really cool. Hunting Simulator 3 is building on all of they've done in the past, and as of right now, we don't know an exact release date, but it is slated as coming soon, so we hope we'll see it in 2025. Next at number 7, we have Wreckfest 2. This is essentially, if you want to call it that, a destruction derby simulator. It does a really good job with the racing, yeah, but most importantly, simulating the physics of crashing your cars into other cars, flipping stuff over, your cars falling apart, pieces realistically flying off. You want to tear all the rival racers' cars apart while surviving on your own. The physics and destruction on display here is so impressive, and as of right now, this did just recently release, and it is in early access. It's got some of a ways to go, but if you're into this type of thing, if you like the original Wreckfest or flat out, Wreckfest 2 should definitely be on your radar. I mean, look at it. Next at number 6, we have Assetto Corsa Evo. Essentially, this is the polar opposite of what Forza Horizon 5 is doing. Assetto Corsa Evo is centered around highly realistic vehicles and racing. It's going for history, it's going for realism, it's going for real-world tracks and races and physics. The Assetto Corsa games have had a high bar for a very, very long time. That's what really drew people to these games, just how they approach simulating the vehicles and the races and stuff. But this new one is still in early access. It's a little bit light on content, but in terms of the driving and the realism, the feeling of the road, the feeling of the vehicles, they do have it down pat, according to most people. Even though it's a work in progress, it's absolutely a gorgeous game, and we're looking forward to seeing the final release. I feel like I'm talking about so many early access games on this list. I feel like that's just like the state of gaming now, but anyway, I digress. Let's move on. Next, over at number 5, here's something cool. Copa City, if I'm saying it right. Essentially, this is like a football club simulator where it's you organizing the games. So it's not nitty-gritty team stats, it's more about building out the fields, the stadiums, managing where people are gonna eat, where the VIP sections are, where the football players stay, where the football players practice or warm up. It's essentially like a football city hosting simulator type thing. I think this is a really great idea. I'd love to see a game like this take on, like, you know, bringing the Olympics in your city and managing that. But here, it's all about football, managing those football clubs coming to town, managing the fans, all that. It just seems like a really cool idea. We've had plenty of football simulators of all kinds, but I just like the angle of this one. As of right now, Copa City is set to release sometime in 2025. Now down at number 4, we have Civ 7. Yes, Civilization is back with a whole new thing. Civilization 7 is a little divisive. They changed up the rules a little bit. I'll spare some of the casual people listening to this. We don't need to go into the nitty-gritty, but essentially they change up how the ages work. So you're not necessarily one civilization building throughout decades and decades and decades. The game, for pacing reasons and to shake things up, changes what you're doing. To me, it feels a little bit like an optional game mode, a side game mode for Civ, more than just like a regular old playthrough of Civ, which is kind of like a big, meaty board game, if you want to think about it. It's not for everybody, especially if you've played Civs before, but either way, there's no denying here the Civ formula is still as addictive as ever. There are some quality of life improvements here. The new historical characters they bring in are really interesting. They're not all leaders, but just historical figures in general, and it allows for some pretty good shakeups. I don't know if Civ 7 will have the legs of Civ 6 or 5, but every Civ fan has opinions. Either way, this essentially still aims to simulate building out a civilization, exploring, sending scouts, managing resources, researching technologies and civics and culture and growth. It's just Civ 7 goes about it a little bit differently this time. Now at number 3, is your favorite part of The Sims the actual building of the house? Well, this new Architect Life, a house design simulator, might be for you, because it's exactly as its title suggests. You're designing houses, you're building homes, you're decorating them from structurally, architecturally, to design on the interior. This just seems really cool. There's been games like this before, but I'm excited to see this take. You're doing the whole thing from like 3D planning to execution and making decisions on the ground. It just has a lot of potential. As of right now, it's slated for release pretty soon, June 5th, 2025. Now, down at number 2, Death Stranding 2. Wait, what? Okay, look, I don't always come up with these lists like the crew. We all make them together. I didn't read this one. Who decided to put Death Stranding 2 on this list? I mean, I guess, yes, it simulates walking. It simulates you trudging through environments carrying packages, but there's so much more to it than that. I guess whoever made this list on the list, I think I know who it is. You were just being funny, huh? So, jokes aside, yeah, I guess Death Stranding 2, which is slated to release this year, is gonna simulate more walking through dangerous environments, walking through nature, seemingly with a lot of different biomes now, and carrying all types of packages and cargo. When we came up with this list, we're definitely taking the piss with this one, but still, it's worth acknowledging. Anyway, now down at number 1, we have JDM, Japanese Drift Master. If you like cool Tokyo-style racing, Japanese cars, and the art of the drift, this might be for you, because they are absolutely nailing it. If you like driving, racing, all that, but more specifically, drifting, the controlled slides through these incredibly challenging and tight environments that just encourage this type of driving, this might be the game for you. It's got a lot of cool elements to it. The cars themselves themselves are just really nice. I say it as somebody who just personally in real life likes these types of cars. You don't always see all of these cars celebrated in other types of games, but also with that, there is a little bit of storytelling here with some manga art and just some really, really nice visuals. Really excited to see how this one shakes out. It is releasing May 21st, 2025. So those are 20 simulation games, or kind of simulation games. You know, it's a broad category. So let us know in the comments what you think. If you're looking forward to or have played any of these games, hit us up. And if you got any more choices, let us know in the comments, because people are always looking down there for game recommendations. If you like this video, clicking the like button helps us out. We really appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell, because we put out new videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.